I'm Lieutenant Randall Chaney from the Largo Police Department. I have a short prepared statement and I'll take any questions regarding this incident. This evening at 5:55 p.m., officers from our problem-oriented policing unit initiated a stop of a male with a black Nissan sedan on North Missouri Avenue at the Wawa gas station. During the course of the stop, the suspect driver attempted to pin Officer Matthew Steiner between the suspect's vehicle and the gas pumps and concrete bollards in the Wawa. Officer Steiner, who received injuries, fired his duty weapon in self-defense, striking the suspect. Officer Steiner was transported to Morton Plant Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect, who was taken to Largo Medical Center, was pronounced deceased. And that's the summary of what happened.
Can you tell us or describe the events leading up to this confrontation and why this driver tried to take action against your officer?
At this time, it's an active investigation, and it's a very short period of time since we started it, so I can't quite answer that. I know that there was a stop was initiated in which they began some sort of encounter with this gentleman, at which time he got in the vehicle and then began acting very violently with the vehicle.
Sir, what initiated the traffic stop?
I don't know that at this time.
Does he have a criminal record?
Yes, the person does.
Can you shed any light on what type of history he has?
No, I'm not going to release any of that information. Next of kin has not yet been notified, so tomorrow morning, perhaps once the next of kin has been notified, we'll be able to release more information on the subject.
Were any people at the Wawa ever in danger?
I would probably say yes. At the time that the vehicle was speeding forward, it hit several concrete bollards. There was significant damage to the vehicle during this encounter, so I would say yes, that there were people there and they were in danger at the time.
We know officer-involved shootings are always under review, can sometimes be controversial, but kind of explain from your guys' end why this officer's actions maybe, like Laura was saying, maybe helped other innocent lives or protect people.
At the time that the officer felt he was in peril for his own life and took action, it stopped the actions of the suspect at the time, and it may very well have prevented people from being injured or possibly killed in that parking lot time.
What kind of injuries does the officer have?
I can't speak to all of his injuries. He has minor injuries. They're non-life-threatening, but he does have injuries, and he is hurt in his head.
Can you talk about how the officer's doing?
I just spoke with him, actually. He's doing okay, all things considered. It's a very difficult situation to go through something like this.
What does it say about a situation like this, which starts out like a traffic stop and obviously escalates to what it did, and how things can get to that point in such a short amount of time and how officers need to be on their guard?
It appeared in this particular instance that it happened extremely quickly. The subject went right to a resistive attitude and action, and in that case, the officers are trained to deal with whatever presents itself to them, but it's obviously very difficult because of the potential for danger, but also the fact that we have to deal with people in difficult situations, and we have to deal with them, generally speaking, in calm and rational ways.
Can you talk about the unit that the officer was working with? You kind of talked about that a little bit.
Yes, this is our problem-oriented policing unit. Our problem-oriented policing unit is specialized officers, and they're tasked with handling long-term quality of life issues and problems within the community. So they're responsible for crime prevention and reduction, residential and community checks, threat assessments, coordinating neighborhood watch programs, promoting crime prevention programs, and just generally addressing any kind of chronic crime or any hot spots, areas where we have a spike in crime that needs more addressing than typical calls for service.
So where this happened, was this be considered a hot spot and that's why this officer was there? Or was this a run-of-the-mill traffic stop or was this the driver targeted?
I don't know at this time what the nature of the stop was, so I wouldn't consider that area necessarily a high crime area. However, these are high crime area individuals that they deal with, so they may very well have been surveilling him at the time, or they may have just seen somebody that they actually know, because we tend to stop people that we know that are committing crimes from our previous backgrounds with them.
And was this officer when he fired his weapon, was he shooting into the car? The driver was still sitting behind the wheel and it went through the windshield? Can you kind of give us any indication of how the bullets were fired?
Yeah, the detectives are working through that right now, the actual mechanics of the shooting. I know that the officer fired into the vehicle, striking the subject, and that's pretty much all I know about exactly how the shooting occurred.
And was he the only one in the vehicle?
Yes, the suspect was the only person in the vehicle.
And was the officer working with someone else, or was he the only one in his vehicle?
It's my understanding that Officer Steiner also had a backup officer who arrived on scene at about the time of the shooting. That was Officer Prentice Abels, A-B-L-E-S.
you know how many other people were in the gas station at the time, roughly?
I would probably say there might have been a dozen, just from the people that I saw when I arrived at the scene.
So this is his training is kicking in, right? Kind of expand about it.
It seemed like it, yes, because it was such a violent, explosive situation. I think it happened in front of him, and he did what his good training would dictate for him to do.
We have no information on whether it was his car or a stolen car or anything at this point.
That's under investigation right
Okay.
now. Yeah, we'll be able to release that later.
I heard, I was at the scene, I spoke to a woman who said that she found a rental car slip that matched the black Nissan. Was the car a rental?
I can't comment on that. Anything else?
Nothing with that.
All right.